What first denarius really bought in the time of Jesus, the truth is heartbreaking. The sun hasn't yet risen over Jerusalem, but Marcus is already awake. His calloused hands tremble slightly as he counts the single silver coin resting in his palm. 1 denarius, his entire day's wage. His wife watches from the corner of their one-room dwelling, her eyes reflecting a question she dares not speak aloud. Will it be enough? Their youngest child coughs in the darkness, a sound that has grown more persistent over the past week.
I have this.
Marcus closes his fist
What does it
around
mean?
the coin, feeling its weight.
I don't know
a weight
yet,
that represents not just
but it
silver,
worries me.
but survival itself. But what could 1 denarius actually buy in first century Judea? Was it wealth or poverty? Could it feed a family or barely sustain a single person? And why did Jesus choose this specific coin? Not the gold aureus of the wealthy, not the copper quadrants of beggars, to teach about economics, generosity, and the kingdom of God. The truth about the denarius reveals a reality far more desperate than most modern Christians imagine. Stay until the end, because understanding what this single coin represented will forever change how you read Jesus' parables about workers, debts, and the incomprehensible generosity of God. To understand the denarius, we must first descend into the economic reality of first century Palestine, a world where the vast majority lived perpetually on the razor's edge between survival and catastrophe. The denarius was the standard daily wage for a common laborer, as Jesus himself confirms in the parable of the workers in the vineyard. He agreed to pay them a denarius for the day, Matthew 22. But this wasn't prosperity, it was subsistence. Archaeological evidence from the period reveals that approximately 90% of the population lived at or below what we would consider the poverty line. These weren't the starving destitute, those existed in even more desperate conditions, but working families who labored from sunrise to sunset just to maintain existence. The denarius itself was a Roman silver coin, weighing approximately 3.9 grams and containing about 3.4 grams of actual silver. On one side, the face of Caesar, Tiberius, during most of Jesus' ministry, with the inscription Ti Caesar Divi AVG F Augustus, declaring him the son of the divine Augustus. On the reverse, a seated female figure representing Pax, the Roman peace. Every time a Jewish worker received this coin, he held in his hand a miniature declaration of occupation, a reminder that even his daily bread bore the image of a pagan emperor who claimed divinity. The irony wasn't lost on Jesus when he asked, "Whose image is on the coin?" Matthew 22:20. The very money that sustained Jewish life proclaimed Roman supremacy and pagan worship. But let's return to Marcus and his denarius. What could he actually purchase? A single Roman modius of wheat, approximately 8.62 liters, or about 6.5 kilograms, cost roughly half a denarius in times of normal harvest. This was enough to make bread for a small family for perhaps 2 to 3 days, if carefully rationed. But Marcus doesn't just need bread. His family requires oil for the lamp that must burn through the evening hours when he repairs fishing nets to supplement his income. A small flask of olive oil, enough for a week's lighting and cooking, costs another quarter denarius. Already 3/4 of his day's wage is consumed by the absolute basics, grain and oil. But there was a bigger problem, his child's cough. A visit to a physician, one of the few in Jerusalem who would treat common workers, required a
Your
full
pulse is
denarius
faint.
just for consultation.
You must take this
with
infusion
medicines
twice
costing
daily.
additional sums
And the cost?
that might amount
A
to
single
several days'
denarius
wages.
when you are well.
Marcus faced the calculation
God help
that
me.
millions of parents throughout history
It's the
have
only
faced.
way.
Work today and hope the child improves on their own.
I will go.
Or seek help and plunge the family into debt that might take months to repay. The Talmud records that medical debt was one of the
A
primary
skilled
causes
builder,
of slavery
strong
in the
and
first
obedient.
century. Families selling themselves into
What am I
servitude
bid
to
for
pay
this man
healing
and his
that
woman?
may or may not come. Under 430. This brings us to a crucial understanding. The denarius represented not wealth, but fragility. One day of illness meant one day
We have nothing
without
left.
wages. One family
Don't worry,
emergency
my
could
love.
initiate a spiral
But
into
you cannot
debt
work.
that might never be escaped. The historical records reveal that interest rates for small loans among the working poor ranged from 20% to 50% annually, and these were the legal rates. Illegal usury could reach 100% or more. A worker who borrowed 5 denarii to cover a family crisis might find himself owing 7 within months, 10 within a year. The mathematics of poverty were ruthless and exact. Now let's examine specific prices from archaeological and historical sources to understand the denarius's purchasing power in concrete terms. Papyrus documents from Egypt, which had similar price structures to Palestine, and
The coin represents
in
the
Mishnah
cost.
and Talmud give us
You
this
receive
picture.
12 liters of
1
barley,
denarius
yet
could
only
purchase
8 of the
8
finest
to 10
wheat.
liters of wheat, enough for 2 to 3 days of bread for a family of 4, or 12 liters of barley, the grain of the poor, enough for 3 to 4 days. Or
Is the
3
wine
liters of
really the
olive
same
oil,
price as the
or
oil?
8
Yes,
liters of
1
cheap
denarius
wine,
for each,
or
as
1
marked.
small chicken, or a pair of simple leather sandals, though these might last a year or more, or a day's labor from another worker, O6 barso. But notice what 1 denarius could not buy: a lamb for Passover, which cost 4 8 denarii, a new tunic, 6 10 denarii for basic quality, a month's rent for even a simple room, 20 30 denarii, enough grain to store for winter, requiring 100 plus denarii for a family.
Consider the lilies
And
of
it
the
was
field, how they
precisely
grow.
at this
They neither
point that
toil nor spin, yet I
Jesus's
tell you,
economic
even
parables
Solomon in all his
take on
glory was not
devastating
arrayed like one
clarity.
of these.
Consider the
My
parable
Lord, I beg
of the
you, have
unforgiving
mercy.
servant in
The
Matthew
debt
18.
is too great, I
A
cannot
servant
pay.
owes his master
knew the
10,000
terms.
talents,
I cannot
an
help you.
impossible sum, equivalent to perhaps 200,000 years of daily wages. The master forgives this incomprehensible debt. But then this same servant
Pay me
finds
the
a fellow
100
worker
denarii you
who
owe
owes
me.
him 100 denarii, about 3
Please, I
months'
beg you,
wages,
give me
and
time.
has him thrown into prison until he can pay. The original audience would have gasped not at the cruelty, but at the recognition. 100 denarii was not a trivial sum.
1
It
month.
represented 3
Yes.
months of survival,
2
90
months.
days of bread and
3.
oil and shelter. For a working family, being owed 100 denarii meant watching your children go hungry for a quarter of a year because someone else couldn't pay. Yet Jesus' point cuts deeper still. The 100 denarii, real and substantial as it was, couldn't even be expressed in the same numerical category as the 10,000 talents. The Greek text deliberately uses different words for these sums because they existed in different universes of value. One represented the debt between humans, real, painful, substantial. The other represented the debt between humanity and God, infinite, unpayable, erased only by incomprehensible grace. Every worker in Jesus' audience knew exactly what 100 denarii meant. They had counted it out, saved it, lost it, been owed it themselves. And yet, against the backdrop of divine forgiveness, even this substantial sum became a few dollars in the economy of grace. Let's return to the parable of the workers in the vineyard because it contains economic details that modern readers often
A denarius for the day's
landowner
labor in my
hires
vineyard.
workers at dawn,
It is agreed,
agreeing to pay
master.
the standard
We accept
wage,
your terms.
1 denarius. Fair enough. But then he hires more workers at the 3rd hour, 9 a.m., the 6th hour, noon, the 9th hour, 3 p.m., and finally at the 11th hour, 5 p.m.
Why stand ye
Just
here all
1
the
hour
day
before
idle?
sunset
Because
ends
no
the
man
workday.
has hired us.
When evening
Go you
comes,
also into
he
the
pays
vineyard.
everyone the same. 1 denarius. The workers hired at dawn are outraged. These last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the
We
burden
bore
of
the
the day
heat
and
of the day while
scorching
these
heat.
men only
Matthew
worked an
20,
hour.
12. Their
This is
anger
not
seems
right.
justified by any human calculation. They labored for 12 hours in the Palestinian sun, and anyone who has experienced the Middle Eastern summer knows that scorching heat is not metaphorical. Temperatures exceeding 100 degree Haas, 38 to C, were common. These men had sweat, ached, endured. Meanwhile, the late hired workers had barely exerted themselves. Equal pay seems manifestly unfair. But there's another layer that transforms our understanding. Consider the workers hired at the 11th hour at 5 p.m. with darkness approaching. Why were they still in the marketplace? The text tells us, because no one hired us. Matthew 27. These were the most desperate men in the city. They had stood in the marketplace since dawn, watching as stronger or more skilled workers were selected. They had watched the morning pass, and afternoon, their hope dwindling with each hour. By the 11th hour, they knew the truth. They were going home with nothing. Their children would go to bed hungry. Their wives would ration the remaining oil. Tomorrow
Go
they would
yourselves
begin
also
again,
to the vineyard,
hoping,
And
praying
whatever
for
is
work.
right, I will give
When
you.
the landowner
so
gave them a
grateful,
full
Master.
denarius,
We will
a
go at
complete
once.
day's wage for 1 hour's work, he wasn't being generous in some abstract sense. He was providing what was needed for survival. A denarius meant bread for their children, oil for their lamps, one more day of life. The landowner in the parable was operating by a different economy entirely, not the economy of merit, but the economy of need and grace. No one could predict what would come next. This parabolic principle would soon manifest in Jesus' own bride. Consider the passage about the poor widow who put 2 small copper coins, 2 lepta, together worth about 64th of a denarius, into the temple treasury. Jesus said she gave more than all the wealthy donors. Why? Because they gave from their surplus, but she out of her poverty put in all she had to live on. Mark 12:44. That phrase, all she had to live on, in Greek is holon ton bion autis, literally her whole life. Those 2 tiny coins represented her survival for the next day or 2. She gave her literal life. The wealthy donors might have contributed 50 denarii, 100, even 1,000. Substantial sums that would fund temple operations, purchase sacrifices, support priests.
I tell you
Yet
the truth.
Jesus said the widow's
This poor widow
1/64th
has
of
put
a
more
denarius
into the
exceeded
treasury
their
than
gifts
all the others.
because she gave not from her margin, but from her center. She gave what she needed to live. Every worker who heard this knew exactly what Jesus meant. They knew what it felt like to hold their day's wage and decide whether to buy medicine or food, to pay debt or keep a coin for tomorrow. They knew the weight of the denarius,
God,
and
help me.
therefore they knew the
This
weight
denarius.
of the widow's gift. But there was
it
an
enough?
even deeper economic reality
Just this,
that the
for
denarius
everything.
reveals about Jesus' teaching. The workers in the vineyard, the widow's mite, the unforgiving servant, all these parables assume an audience living at subsistence level for whom one day without wages meant genuine crisis. This wasn't theoretical poverty. Archaeological excavations of first-century Palestinian villages reveal dwellings of 1 or 2 rooms, averaging 30-50 square meters, often housing entire extended families. These homes had packed earth floors, sometimes covered with stone slabs if the family could afford them. There was no furniture as we understand it, perhaps a stone bench, sleeping mats that were rolled up during the day, a few clay pots for cooking and storage. Clothing was equally sparse. A working man might own 2 tunics, one to wear while the other was washed and mended, and a cloak that served as both coat and blanket. These items represented significant investment. A basic tunic cost roughly 10 denarii, 10 days of labor. This is why Jesus' instruction, if anyone wants to sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well, Matthew 5:40, was so radical. He was saying, give away
If someone
20
sues
days
you for
of
your
wages,
tunic, give him your
away
cloak as
covering,
well.
Make
This
yourself
cloak is
vulnerable
worth
to
20
cold
days'
and
wages,
weather.
yet I say,
Only
give it
someone
away.
operating by the economics of the kingdom rather than the economics of survival could do this. And it was exactly there that everything changed. We must now confront what the denarius reveals about the cost of redemption itself. Judas betrayed Jesus for 30
I know where
pieces
he
of
can be
silver,
found tonight,
30
quietly.
denarii by
silver
most
will be
scholarly
ready.
estimates, though some
Are we
ancient
agreed then?
sources suggest these might
We
have
are.
been the heavier Tyrian shekels. If we take the lower estimate of 30 denarii, we're looking at approximately 1 month's wages for a common laborer, the price of a slave in Exodus 21:32. The price of betraying the Son of God was 1 month's labor, 1 month's survival, 1 month of bread and oil. Think about this economic calculation in human terms. Judas traded the Messiah for what a working family needed to survive from one new moon to the next. It was enough to matter 30 days of life, but cosmically insufficient for the transaction.
30 pieces.
You could buy a field with 30
And
denarii.
24 days
You could pay off
until
3
the new
months
moon.
of debt. You could purchase a modest but complete set of tools for a trade, but you couldn't buy back what was lost. When Judas tried to return the money, the priests used it to buy the potter's field. a
For
piece
these
of
30
land for
denarii,
burying
you get the
strangers.
finest tools,
30
3 months of
denarii
grain
could
and
purchase
oil,
a field
and the
of
lease
death,
for a small
but
plot of
couldn't
land by the
purchase
South
back
Road.
life. The economic reality mirrors the spiritual reality. No amount of silver, no accumulation of denarii could ever equal the value of what was bought and sold that night. Now, let's examine another crucial economic detail that illuminates Jesus' ministry, the cost of following him. When Peter said, "We have left everything to follow you," Mark 10:28, what did everything mean for a fisherman? Archaeological evidence from fishing communities around the Sea of Galilee shows that a fishing boat suitable for the work Peter and his brother Andrew did would have cost approximately 500 denarii. Their nets, specialized equipment requiring skilled craftsmanship, might have cost another 100 to 200 denarii combined. We're talking about an investment of 700 denarii, representing nearly 2 years of individual labor or several months of combined family work. For
This is a
fishermen like
testament
Peter,
to our
James,
family's
and John,
thriving business.
this wasn't casual poverty they left behind.
An
It was
impressive
modest,
vessel,
but real
indeed.
economic security.
The kingdom of
They
heaven
owned
is like a
capital
man
equipment.
traveling
They
to a
had
far
trade.
country,
They could
who
reasonably
called his
expect to
own
earn
servants
perhaps
and delivered
one,
his goods to
5
them.
denarii per day in good seasons, when fish were abundant and could be sold fresh or preserved. They were leaving behind not just daily wages, but the accumulated investment of their family's labor across generations. That boat might have been built by their grandfather.
The nets
Those
are ready.
nets represented their
The
father's
catch today will be
expertise and
plentiful.
their own. When
Another
Jesus
fine
said,
specimen.
"Follow me,"
May we have
he
a
was
good return
asking them
today.
to walk away from
The nets
multiple
are full.
years of wages embodied in wood and rope. And yet, the gospel writers record that immediately
We'll have a
they
good
left
season
their
now.
nets and
Fresh
followed
from
him.
the sea this morning,
Matthew
the largest
4:20.
of the catch.
The Greek word
These are
euthus
excellent specimens.
immediately
We will take these here.
emphasizes the radical nature
May
of
your
this
day be
decision.
prosperous.
No
You must respect the
negotiation
wood.
period.
Feel
No
the
time
grain
to
as
sell
you
the
cut.
business or
Yes, I feel
transfer
it now,
ownership.
grandfather.
They
Good.
simply walked
Now
away
you are
from
ready to
everything
try.
those denarii represented. This is the economic cost of discipleship that Jesus made explicit elsewhere. Any of you who does not renounce all that he has cannot be my disciple. Luke 14:33. All that he has for a first-century worker meant those precious denarii
Follow me.
accumulated painfully over time, representing
Immediately.
security, survival, future. What seemed like the end was only the beginning. Let's now examine the most economically specific parable Jesus taught, the parable of the talents in Matthew 25.
The cost
a talent
is
was an
total
enormous sum,
renunciation.
6,000
cannot
denarii,
serve both God and
equivalent
your
to nearly
possessions.
20 years of labor
Give up
for a common
everything
worker.
you have.
The servant who received 5 talents was being entrusted with 30,000 denarii, 100 years of wages. No ordinary worker would ever see such sums in their lifetime. This wasn't a parable about everyday financial management. It was a parable about
Follow me.
impossible abundance,
Yes.
about resources so vast they
Immediately.
existed beyond the comprehension of Jesus' audience. And yet, the principle remains the same, whether the amount is 30,000 denarii or 1 denarius. What we do with what God entrusts to us matters. The servant who buried his 1 talent, 6,000 denarii, and returned it without increase was condemned not because he
Consider
stole
the lilies
or
of the
squandered
field,
it,
how they
but
grow.
because he
They
did
toil
nothing
not,
with it.
neither
He
do they
preserved, but
spin.
didn't multiply.
And yet I say
even
unto
1
you that
talent, even 6,000 denarii, even 20 years of wages, was meant to be invested in the kingdom's economy, where the calculations of profit and loss operate by different mathematics entirely. This brings us to the transformative conclusion that reframes everything we've experienced. When we observe what 1 denarius really bought in the time of Jesus, 2 or 3 days of bread, 1 flask of oil, 1 simple meal, 1 day's survival, we realize that every single person in Jesus' audience lived perpetually in the shadow of economic fragility. 1 illness, 1 injury, 1 season of drought or political upheaval could destroy a family's stability. The denarius represented not wealth but survival, not prosperity but persistence, not security but 1 more day of life. And it was into this world of denarii and desperate calculation
Consider
that
the
Jesus
lilies
spoke
of the field,
economics
how they
of
grow.
the kingdom of
They
God.
toil not,
Do not
neither
be
do they
anxious
spin.
about your life,
Yet
what
I
you
say
will
unto
eat,
you,
or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Matthew 6:25. To people who counted denarii because their lives depended on it, Jesus said, "There is a Father who knows you need these things." To workers who had calculated exactly how many denarii they needed to survive the winter, Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom, and these things will be added to you." To those who measured their worth by their daily wage, Jesus said, "You are worth more than many sparrows, and not 1 sparrow falls without your Father
This is
knowing."
all we have.
The same God who marked the value
Will it
of
be
human
enough?
redemption, not
For a
in
week,
denarii,
maybe?
but in the blood of
And
his own
after
Son,
that?
continues to operate by the economics
Do you think
of
he
grace.
knows?
In
He
Christ,
knows.
the impossible debt,
He knows.
the
He will
10,000
provide.
talents we could never pay, was canceled completely. the 100 denarii we might owe one another, real and substantial as they are, vanish into insignificance.
Look at the sparrows
beside
in the
this.
sky.
And the widow's
Are you
mite,
not worth more
the
than they
smallest
are?
offering given from the
Father
center
knows
of life,
when even one
rather than the
falls.
margin of surplus, becomes the greatest gift because it mirrors the heart of God Himself, who gave not from abundance, but from the core of divine love, His only Son. When you hold money in your hand today, remember the denarius. Remember Marcus counting his single coin in the darkness, calculating whether it would be enough. Remember the workers hired at the 11th hour, going home with full pay for 1 hour's labor because the master operated by need rather than merit. Remember Judas's 30 pieces of silver, proof that the value of redemption cannot be calculated in any currency humans devise. Remember the widow's 2 lepta, given not from her margin, but from her center.
Is it enough?
And remember that Jesus,
Only one.
who could have spoken in the financial languages of kings and emperors, chose instead to speak in denarii, the coin of common workers, the currency of survival, the language of those who knew that every day's bread was a gift. And if this documentary strengthened your faith, if it helped you see the scriptures with new eyes, if it reminded you that Jesus spoke into real economic hardship with real hope, share it with someone who needs to hear that the God of the universe understands what it means to count coins and wonder if there'll be enough. Leave a comment telling us which parable now makes more sense, knowing what a denarius could buy. Like this video so others can discover the heartbreaking and beautiful reality of biblical economics. Until the next video, and may God bless you.
This single denarius represented a fair day's wage. But as the parable reveals, God The Lord bless you and keep you, and make His face shine upon you.